and welcome to all the participants and audience members of the SSON Shared Services webinar. We're happy you're here to join us, and we're even happier to have with us today from Limbach, EVP of Shared Services, Don Trena. Dominic, if you go by Dom. Dom has been a customer for some time. We actually met Dom in March at the March conference for the SSON, and we had some alignment on business goals and objectives, and now we are partners in the AI journey. Welcome, Dom. We're glad to have you. I'd like to give you a minute to kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your background, give the audience members a little more information about Limbach, and then we can start some questions about your journey on AP transformation. Dom, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Craig. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I'm really excited to kind of tell the audience about my journey with Open Envoy. And let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I am, EVP of Shared Services at Limbach. We are a public company. We've been in business since early 1900s. So I think we're getting ready to celebrate our 125th year of business. So we're really excited about that. My journey has been great, not just in Limbach, but in previous companies. And, even though I have a finance background, I've really been more involved in shared services, financial planning and analysis, things like that, how can we improve what we do and how can we work smart and hard? So a lot of continuous improvement actions that we take as a company. And it's a perfect fit for Limbach because that's who we are and that's what we're about. So I am really excited to kind of share those experiences.
This is a good time to interject. I wanted to let the audience know, in case they didn't, that you guys have been on the tear. You mentioned being a public company. I wanted to just say congratulations on your success. I don't even recall the multiple, but since the beginning of the year, your performance publicly has been terrific.
Yes, we've been very fortunate, absolutely, and it's with a lot of hard work and dedication from a great leadership team that we have that we've been able to really do that. Our transformation into what we are now has been pivotal for us, and we're really happy about it.
Yeah, that might lead some people to question why, when you experience this type of success, often people associate savings with being in a particular performance quartile. But you guys are actually pursuing AI and AP automation. Maybe you can talk about how that journey started with you and what's the impetus behind it for Limbach.
Sure. So, our shared services group is fairly new. We've been doing it for a few years now, and we've just been kind of learning as we go and really developing great processes and best practices in what we do. And we've recognized, of course, with AI that, there's definitely some need for automation in our AP. I think you and I have talked about this in the past, but we tried going down a different route several years ago, and it did not work well for us at all. So we're really excited about what we're going to do now with the AI with Open Envoy. But what we have found is, we just spend a lot of unnecessary time keying in invoices. So of course it's human intervention, so it's room for error. And anytime there's an error, it just kind of escalates and more people have to touch it. And we feel that with the AI, with the AP automation, that we can really improve that process.
Right. When we talked about shared service and kind of your current as-is process, you guys do a lot of tracking, as people could imagine, a lot of measuring. Do you have any specific goals or objectives with respect to AP automation or for your shared services in general?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to reduce as many manual processes as we can. I mean, we have our people, and we've got plenty for them to do, and they shouldn't have to be dealing with these manual redundant processes that we have to do. We want them reviewing more information. So the manual processes, as I mentioned previously, it's going to improve our accuracy. I think that we can get more accurate, which then reduces the amount of repeat work. And then You mentioned, our success, and we are looking at acquisitions, and being able to have that scalability is going to be important to us.
Yeah. What about industry specific? I think when we touched on things and as we went through the implementation process, we talked a lot about kind of the complexities of the invoices, the kind of industry specific challenges. Are there things that kind of came up in your early part of the search that kind of, I mean, led you to Open Envoy?
Yeah, I think so. And as we were talking about it, we tried the OCR several years ago, and it didn't do what we wanted it to do, and it really did fail. And I think what we've learned is, we do have complex invoices, and we work a lot with subcontractors and vendors, and so it's nothing for us to have a multi-page invoice with a lot of line items, or AIA documents for our subcontractor billings, and we really need that intelligence in
Hmm.
order to be able to read and understand that information.
Right. Yeah, you talked a little bit also about the acquisition strategy. Can tell us about, well, one, kind of where you are, to what you can share, and then two, as you guys head down this road, what your vision is, kind of looking down the planning horizon.
Sure, sure. So, we just closed on an acquisition a couple months ago, Ken Island Mechanical, and it was just a great fit for us, culturally, and the type of work that they do, and it's been a great thing so far. And we've been able to just kind of tuck them into one of our existing businesses in the area that they're located. So that really worked out well, and we've told the public that this is our how we want to grow, and we want to be able to look at other acquisitions. So that is definitely at the top of our list right now, and we plan to do more of that.
Great. You know, we mentioned earlier that we met at SSON. Can you tell the audience a little bit more about your journey in finding the right partner?
Sure. So, I went to SSON really for this sole purpose. I knew that there was a need in the AP, and I knew that that's what we wanted to do. And I just wanted to understand more about, what has AI done that is different from the OCR piece of it. And so, going there, my journey was to meet with people that could offer this. But more importantly, we are a cultural company. A cultural fit is important to us. I mean, you may have a product, but being able to work together, I think, produces results. And we look at that with our employees, and who we have, and we look at that with our partners as well. So when we met Open Envoy, we really realized that not only do they have a great product, that they're a great partnership, and you've been a great partnership, and others in the company that have been working with us, it's been a really great partnership. So those were kind of the things that we were really looking for. And of course, like we were just talking about, those complex invoices, being able
Mhm.
to really read and understand those complex invoices.
Got it. The other thing, I think, since this audience is made up of people who've come to SSON, from a shared services standpoint, were there any, particular kind of like capabilities or advancements or kind of biases that made it more suitable for your environment? And I mean by SS shared services environment, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that, a company that could grow with us and could
Hmm.
scale with us was important. Of course, our ERP system, and being able to integrate with our ERP system. We have a great technology team, and with any greatness comes, it's that line where the people that really work hard are the ones that get all the work.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
so they usually have a lot going on. So part of it was we needed something that could integrate with our ERP, and we
Hmm.
could be sure that it would take minimal effort from our tech department. And that was Open Envoy said that that's what they could do, and through this journey, that's what they've done.
Yeah. You also mentioned in the beginning, like, I guess, I don't know, like you dated automation in terms of like OCR technology, but from a corporate level, were there any mandates or kind of strategic decisions aligned around AI or automation in general?
No, I wouldn't say that there were any mandates. Part of my role is automation, and
Hmm.
it's, how can we improve processes and how can we, work smarter and better. And so we're always looking at ways, whether it be in the office or in the field or wherever it is, that we can just use technology to improve that. So it's really wasn't a mandate because it's really more of a cultural thing for us. It's
Right.
who we are and it's what we try to do from internal and to external and what we offer to our customers as well.
Yeah. So when you go back to talk with the leadership of the team, I mean, you're on the executive board. This would be the board, of course, and your bosses and your boss. What is it that kind of pops to the top of the list? I mean, people talk about scalability, they talk about you mentioned mergers and integrations. Is there anything that kind of floated to the top when you guys have these discussions around automation?
I think that, of course, our path is with the customer, and everything we do is to support the customer. So anything that we can offer, from data-driven solutions to our customers, that's really what we're looking at doing from an external perspective. So I think that's probably at the top of our list. Internally, we're with the shared services group, we're trying to um, handle those transactions. And what we've
Hmm.
said, shared services is there to handle the repetitive transactions that kind of happen to us as a company. So
Right.
anytime that we can, manage that and improve accuracy, I think that's, those are the top things that are at the list.
Right. And so for you, I think you had mentioned that you've been with Limbach for some time. You come through and shared services reasonably new. What's that path, that roadmap look like for you when you look ahead in shared services in terms of bringing additional acquisitions or bringing additional functions, technologies? What does that look like for Limbach?
Yeah, and really it's all of what you said. So, we want to have that structure and shared services for that scalability. So, for example, as we take on, an acquisition, we want it to be seamless. And of course,
Hmm.
it's never seamless, but we want it to be as seamless as possible where, the day-to-day transactions are just automatically performed through shared services so that the we call them branches so that the branches aren't having to deal with those distractions and they can do what's important. And that's working with our customers, managing the operations, making sure we have a successful product.
Right. So for many in the audience today, they're probably where you guys were many, many months or years ago in terms of like selection process, kind of trying to understand what's being offered in the marketplace. What kind of lessons on this AI journey can you offer? And maybe they're glimpses and maybe some are yet to come, but for the audience members at large, here are the things that are important.
Yeah, I think first of all, there's going to be just more to come for sure on this as we continue to go down that journey. But when I look back at when we were selecting an OCR company
Hmm.
back several years ago, I don't know that the criteria changed. I think the technology has changed. And we probably didn't, pick the right company for what we wanted to do. And I think we've learned from that now. So I think those are, some of the things that are important for us when it comes to, what we're looking for and, what's going to make this successful.
Yeah, so that's an interesting point. When you say the criteria hasn't changed, but the technology has, are there insights you can share about, what kind of categorically you see as improvements over the years? Because our technology is fundamentally different. It's not really OCR, right? AI is the big term now, but we call it applied AI, right? So it's autonomous automation. Um, Maybe you can give us a kind of a glimpse of how you see things have changed in the last couple of years.
Sure, sure. So I think, when I think about what is similar and then what I think has improved or what is different. And so what's similar is we're trying to pass data from an invoice into our system.
Hmm.
And we want that data to be successful. And success is measured by including all of the information that we need to have a successful invoice and that it's accurate. And so I think those are things that are the same, whether it be OCR, whether it be AI. I think those are the same. Where I think we really get the cream of the crop, so to speak, is with all the other intelligence that AI has
Hmm.
to offer. The matching, the reviewing, being able to know that we paid, $3 more for that widget than what we should have. And I think those are the things that are going to come with time as well. And as you know, we're taking a step-by-step approach to it. So I don't know that we're going to leverage a lot of that right off the bat, but I think
Hmm.
that relationship is just going to grow, and we're gonna get so much from the AI that we'll have to offer. So I think that'll be a great thing as well.
That's an interesting point. You touched on the data portion, right? One is it's got to be more accurate coming in from where it wasn't before with your original solution. But now that you've seen the solution that Open Envoy has, how do you envision kind of like the wealth of data that's going to be coming into your shared services organization?
I think it is going to be a wealth of data for sure, but I think when we look at what the capabilities are.
Hmm.
And that's anything that we do. We're always, as a finance person, I'm always looking at data and analyzing it and figuring out, how we can lead our business with the data and the metrics that come. And I don't think it's any different with the AI. This data is going to be helpful in, how we purchase and the how we perform our work and how we provide the value to our customers. So I think there's just a lot of data driven activity with AI that's just gonna be revolutionary for our company.
Yeah. The the other thing, you talked a little bit about revolution, and I'm wondering if you have a point of view on how, putting on your kind of like long range radar, how this might be transformational for specifically shared services or perhaps, even the industry at large.
So I think this is the tip of the iceberg. I think we've got so much more that we can do. And with Open Envoy, we've just been talking about AP, but there's so much other automation that I think is out there that we need to be leveraging, and I think we will leverage over time. So I think as we grow, as we scale, our footprint looks very different. As we continue to grow as a company, and I think we'll be able to really leverage that data, and we'll be able to look at that in the future and how we can kind of manage it when it comes externally with our customers and internally with our people.
For those who haven't been on the journey and probably want a little more insight, has there been anything? Well, let me ask a different way. What is the top surprise in your journey so far? There's a lot of hype out there, of course, and there's a lot of reality out there. Is there anything that you found like, I need to just tell people this is the biggest expectation that either is met or a surprise that you encountered?
I don't know that I have one specific thing, but what I would say is I think there's a lot of skepticism when it comes to
Hmm.
AI, and this really isn't going to replace the human factor of it. And I again, we are a people company, so there's always going to be something for our people to do, and it just may be different. And I
Right.
think that, I think the skepticism that we see with others, I think as we go through the motions, even with what we're doing now, I think some of our team probably was, especially the ones that were here with the OCR, they were very skeptical that we
Mhm.
could pull this off. And I think we're showing them now that we really can, and it's just going to be impactful to everyone and to, everything that we do.
Yeah, you had mentioned just now about the roles kind of changing because now you have much more automation. How does that kind of translate um, in kind of your strategic plan? As you grow and as you pivot and resources are redeployed, how does that look to you?
I think that taking AP, for example, the people that are there day in and day out and keying in invoices, I just call that data entry.
Yeah,
And I think, and as they're doing the data entry, there's some review that kind of comes along with it. But this is more of they're going to be able to review information that's already in our system. They're going to be able to analyze that and look at some things that may be different that they need to deal with. I think just the whole process improves on how we get a successful invoice from coming in the door to payment. And I think all of those things are going to just be important, and it allows our people, as I mentioned earlier, our strong people are the ones that have the heavy workload. And I
right.
think we'll be able to leverage their strengths in other areas, which I think will be vitally important.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It doesn't sound like you had this, you're the executive leader for shared services Limbach, very successfully and done so for the last few years. How important do you think it is for executive alignment on bringing in these types of new technology? And you may not have had it at Limbach, but maybe you can share an opinion about that.
Sure, sure. So at Limbach, we have a senior leadership team, and it is extremely important for us to be aligned on everything that we do. And of course, we all have differences of opinions, but the greater picture is always the same, and we always want what's best for the company. And I think that some of us have more experience with the AI piece of it, and then
Hmm.
some of us just haven't. So I think our goal is to educate and to, I don't want to say prove, but to show them that this can be accomplished with that. So that's at that Limbach. My previous company, I spent a few years as their continuous improvement leader. So
Hmm.
my role was to look at process, and this was 10 years ago. So of course the technology was very different then.
Yeah,
But we would look at any kind of process and just how can we automate it? Can we use technology to do it? Or just how can we be more efficient?
right.
For example, I used to travel a lot to and the company I worked for, similar industry. So we had multiple branches. And so I would walk into a branch and I'd have people that would just come up to me and say, could you spend an hour with me? I want to show you something that I do, and I do this a
Hmm.
lot. And it's I call it low hanging fruit. There were just so
Right.
many low hanging fruit opportunities that I could say, well, if you do this and you handle it in this process, or you don't need to handle these extra steps, and I
Hmm.
may save them a minute, but they could be doing hundreds of these transactions, and I'm saving
Right.
them a minute for each of those transactions. It's impactful to that person. And then again, we can deploy them into other things that we need to happen. And, it's like any company. We work on what we work on, and then there's always things that we want to do that we don't usually get to, and that gives us that opportunity to do that.
Right. I think you'd mentioned your background both in finance as well as being an operator, right? How do you look at, well, this is kind of a spin-off on a previous question, but specifically in finance and AI, how do you see that kind of evolving in the next, few years?
Yeah, I know personally that me and my team, we spend a lot of time analyzing numbers, and we're always looking for trends and where can we have improvement? What are some things that don't seem to be trending in the right direction? All of those things, and I think AI could help with some of that. And
Hmm.
you know, just tell us, like, these are some things that you should look at, or here's what we've noticed. And I know other platforms are out there. I was just looking at some of the earnings reports for other big companies like Microsoft, and they're they're making money, but they're spending money like
Right.
crazy to improve their technology because of the AI. And I think it's just going to be, really important for us to stay on top of that and
Yeah.
to learn from it, and to figure out how we can, especially as you said, from a finance perspective, where we can leverage that.
When you say learn from and stay on top of, what what do you think the advantage is for customers? Like you guys are, we talked about being kind of tip of the iceberg in early days. You guys are kind of early adopters, right? What is the big benefit for moving quickly in this? Reaping the benefits, leapfrogging old OCR technology, that's all there. But organizational learning, having kind of training for the mindset of the executives, understanding the technology where it can be applied. How do you guys at Limbach view that?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot to unpack there, and I would say first of all, we have a CIO that has been with us for a few years now, and he has really made a tremendous impact to our company when it
Hmm.
comes to our technology and our IT infrastructure and the things that we do, and he's always getting us as a company to think about how we can leverage technology. So we have that, at a leadership level, which I think is important as well. And then, we talk about being on I wouldn't say we're on the cutting edge of it, but we try to do things, sooner than later, so to speak. And
Sure.
I think that helps the skeptics.
Hmm.
When we start early adoption, I think that's going to help them because they're already part of the experience. And so when it becomes not so new anymore, they're already adopted, and then we're ready to kind of rock and roll, so to speak.
Right.
So I think those are some areas there that are of importance.
Yeah. So I'm kind of interpreting what you said. It sounds like, with this experience and with this, if you want to call it being early adoption, the entire organization is in a much better position to make decisions about future technology, where it can be applied, how quickly it can be deployed, where the benefits truly are. That sounds like something that in my interactions with you and the team at Limbach is something that's kind of embedded in the way you guys look at these types of transformations. Um, so again, there's a little bit of looking ahead because we are kind of on the early side of, this technology, if you believe the press. Um, where do you think that this in general is going to land us, um, from a like a corporate penetration level? I mean, if we rolled out 5 years from now, how, if this is even possible to answer, how distinctly pervasive will AI be in the organization?
I'm hoping so. I really think that, it is definitely the journey that we need to take. I think success is going to be the measure.
Hmm.
As we become more successful, the AP automation, as that becomes more successful, the skeptics are no longer skeptical. And that's when we're going to really start, having more of our subject matter experts say, hey, how can AI help me? And I think that's
Right.
going to be really important because it's going to get us thinking. We have we call it our Limbach portal, and it's just a way for us to manage certain workflows and things that we do, and we've had it for a number of years, and it's kind of warms my heart to hear someone say, "Oh, I wonder if we can put that in the portal." And I
Hmm.
think we're going to get more and more of that as we can demonstrate that this is, AI is successful. Here's the results. Here's how we measure it. Here's how our performance is improved. And I think all those different things are going to be just, impactful to what we want to do with it.
Yeah. So just we're kind of running out of time. Just a kind of a final question. This has to do
Sure.
more with kind of shared services. So I think we talked about kind of like surprises, but if we flipped on its head and talked about advice for those in the audience who are listening today, for shared services, AP automation, AI technology, what guidance can you provide to those who are early in their journey, and then those who are maybe midway through their journey?
Sure. I think the first thing is you have to identify where some of the pain points are. And, the only way you're going to identify that is through your people. And
Hmm.
people, you have to have a culture of where your people feel like they can come to you and tell you, these are the things that I feel we could do. I do this transaction 100 times a month and I feel like it takes too long. Things like that I think where they feel that they can come to you. On the flip side of that, they want to feel that they can come to you, and even though their role may now change because we may automate that they feel that they still have a position in the company. And I think, if they are a subject matter expert, then absolutely, because we
Right.
need those people in our company to do that. So I think that's kind of more of the first steps of what
Hmm.
we need to do. And then I think next is a little bit of trust. I mean, you want to, what's the saying? Trust but verify.
Right.
You want to trust that this can happen, but you want to verify the results to be sure that it does, because seeing those results is going to help others get there as well. We're doing this now with the AI for the AP piece of it, because
Hmm.
we were very skeptical after OCR for a number of years.
Right.
Like, I honestly didn't know that I'd ever go down that road again. But the more I started, looking at AI, and the more that we were, kind of leveraging that, I said, maybe now's the time to let's see where we can have an impact on the AP automation. And that took me to SSON, and that opened our relationship with Open Envoy, and here we are.
That's awesome. We could go on, but I'm sorry to yourself and the audience member, we've run out of time. But the questions that have been submitted, we'll consolidate those and get back with everyone via email. I'd like to thank Dom for his participation. We really appreciate your insights and you spending the last half hour with us.